So, but this leads kind of into this notion of journalistic integrity. We do see this propaganda machine being built by the left. We've complained about the way news and media is handled by conservatives, by the right wing, but the left has this amnesia about, you know, just basic rules of decency in the investigative process. You know, we have newscasters who leave out pertinent facts when they reveal information, when they recount, you know, studies and other findings. We as we've now kind of tails back into Rio. Today, the Daily Beast, apparently one of the Daily Beast writers, I mean, it's not even just that it was sleazy, it was reckless indifference for life of others. So for those of you who may not be aware, one of the writers for the Daily Beast, who's there in Rio, he is a straight male, cis male. He is married, he has children, and he decided that he was going to go on a dating or hookup app. I guess something the young folks do, because I don't really know much about any of this stuff. But he posed as someone looking to hook up with other men. Why would somebody do that, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if any of you watched the show Catfish, but basically this is like some weird catfishing in a way. So he put himself out there to see if anybody wanted to hook up, basically is what happened. And he got some bites, so to speak, right? So he like, people wanted to meet up or whatever. And I guess when he finally met up with them, he then like explained what he was doing. But by then he had already like basically identified Olympic athletes. These are Olympic athletes. These aren't just people who are spectators at Rio. These are actual athletes, because he wanted to look at like the underbelly of the party scene and the hookups or whatever. You know, he was doing some investigative journalism. No, it was more like sleazy tabloid, just crap. And what in this process, you know, the Olympics, you have athletes from all over the world. So he encountered in some way, and some of these people he encountered were, I think one person was as young as 18. I'm trying to think of his name. There's a swimmer from Tonga who's openly gay athlete at the Olympics. And so the point that has been made time and time over again is, one, not only did you out people for the purpose of your story, because what happens is when he writes his story, right, there was information about these individuals that was put in there that made it possible that you could figure out their identities. That was in the initial version of the story that was released. The story has since been edited to remove that information out, and there's an editor's note trying to like kind of smooth the situation over. The piece needs to come down. The piece absolutely needs to just come down all the way. Daily Beast needs to not only like retract that, they need to apologize for that BS editor's note apology or whatever, because we would never do anything that appear to be homophobic. You have a straight man pretending to be gay on a dating hookup app or whatever it is, Grindr, whatever it is. I'm showing my age a little bit here, because, you know, I don't do any of that swipe left, swipe right stuff. I don't know nothing about that. But you have someone for the purpose of the story, because there's nothing else that's actually newsworthy happening in Rio, that they have to fabricate some type of sensational scandal, such as who's really hooking up and who's on a down low, or who's in the closet, or who's not out. Like, that's how dare you? Who the hell are you to decide to not only, you know, invade someone's personal privacy like that? They're intimate portions of their lives. Like, who the hell are you? And then you want to say we didn't mean to be homophobic? You outed people. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? For what? Some damn clicks on your little cheap retarded ass website? Like, the Daily Beast already has problems, right? The Daily Beast has egged on all that Bernie bro nonsense and so many other false narratives. But this is like a new damn low. This is so low. It is so beneath anything that's supposedly called journalism. And then to put that piece of crap, you know, statement, editor's note, apologizing or clarifying or justifying, like, well, he's sorry and he didn't mean this being the way. The hell is wrong with you? These are the same people who will lecture us about intersectionality and how we don't understand, privilege is a mother, like for real. For you to sit there and to basically entrap people, to trick them, to lure them into revealing intimate secrets about themselves, things that they don't want other people to know, things that depend upon what country they come from, could cost them more than just accolades and prestige, but in some countries it can cost you your life. Like, this is a very real, we have so many countries in the world that are so very hostile to people who are who identify as LGBTQ. For you to do what was done and as I'm trying to remember his name, the Tongan swimmer, as he pointed out, in a series of tweets, I'm trying to be good in the language. I'm trying not to use foul language because I really want to, but as he pointed out, one of the people that were, approached by this, I'm not even gonna call him a writer. He's not a journalist. He's a con artist. He's a shit starter. Was 18 years old. And it don't matter, but when you're 18 years old, like, you're already so unsure of yourself. You're getting out in the world for the first time, really. Like, you don't want to let your parents down. You're really just trying to figure out who you are. Then you add, sexual orientation and possibly being from a country, from a family, from a culture that does not even accept you. When you add those layers on top of just being a regular 18-year-old, and you're in a high stakes situation anyway, because you're at the freaking Olympics, like, what the hell is wrong with people? But it's okay, because he didn't mean to be homophobic, and he was just trying to write a piece about the inner, the private lives, the mating behaviors of Olympic athletes. Like, what the hell are they? You ain't no damn Jane Goodall, and they are not gorillas for you to be studying. Like, this ain't no zoo. Like, for real. Like it's just so disgusting. When I first read this story earlier today, because I actually read one of the articles from Slate. I'm sure writers over at Slate have been having a field day, because I've seen like 2 or 3 different pieces by Slate folks about this Daily Beast piece. And what makes this Daily Beast piece, as someone pointed out earlier, so bad, I want to say it might have been Awesome Lovey on Twitter, so bad, is that it's not like this was just an op-ed that somebody just uploaded on their own and nobody looked at. This is an actual staffer who more than likely had an editor edit the piece before it was published, right? Like, when I wrote my op-ed for The Guardian, I worked with an editor before it was even published. Somebody else looks at this piece, at least one person, if not multiple people. That's what's so problematic as a whole. So you got this one scallywag who wrote the piece, right? Who was tricking people, who out there exposing folks' personal business. Then you got whatever staffers at the Daily Beast that look at this piece like, oh yeah, this gonna get us some clicks today. All y'all need to go straight to hell. Because this is low. You are, or is the intimate details of someone else's life. It's the fact that you not only potentially could have endangered people's family relationships, you could have endangered their lives, their livelihood, and for what? Like what purpose does it does? Oh, now you done figured out, who might, who might fit into a certain category versus what you assume they did. I mean, that's a very personal decision to share with the world. Even for people who may not have concerns or the scare of, whether or not my family will accept me, will my culture, will my country, like, even if that's not what it is, it's, and I'm not even, like, I'm outraged. I'm just outraged as a sister, of I have a trans sibling. Like, I'm just outraged on so many different levels. Because, I had a friend, I was talking to a friend earlier, like, well, why does it bother you though? So like, why does it bother you? So, okay, so like the author of the article, right? Like for For the record, I didn't lie to anyone or pretend to be someone I wasn't, unless you count being a runner in the first place, since I'm straight with a wife and child. If it's an app that is for people to use to meet same-sex potential partners, mates, friends, whatever the terminology is, and you're on there, why would someone, and it wasn't even pointed out, it wasn't even that he had put in his bio or in the messages that he was a journalist and he was doing a story, right? He did not disclose who he was until like once he actually met them and found out who these people are. And then you know, John Avalon, who's Daily Beast editor-in-chief, wrote in his notes, like, there was some concern that the original version of the story might out gay male athletes, even by implication, or compromise their safety. This was never our reporter's intention, of course. Huh? Who the hell is buying that? I hope they all get together and sue y'all asses and you have to shut down. Like, seriously, this was never our intent to compromise people's identity. Because like I said, the original story had so much detail about people, right? It wasn't just a general overview of like the use of this app and blah, blah, blah. Like, it had specifics. I mean, and even like doing a story about a general overview, that's bad enough. But then you put in specifics about people. You're putting in people's personal business. You know, you're putting people in danger. Like, you're invading privacy for what? For entertainment value? Like, it's sick. We have our American culture is already so sick. We already have, like, we've seen so many years now with the paparazzi attacking people and like chasing down famous people and stuff like that. And you got these athletes over there just trying to, you know, win one from the home team, do their best, make a name for themselves. And you got schmucks like this running around, let me see who I can trick into doing something so I can write a story for my little craptastic paper, the Daily Beast. You know, they say that some readers have read Nico as mocking or sex shaming those on Grindr with this anyway. However, the Daily Beast understands that others may have interpreted this piece differently. So like I said, people read this. This is what's so much more problematic, because they had to, because the piece, when you read the piece as it is now, it is still disgusting. It is still so problematic, and it still makes me want to punch somebody, right? The fact that that is the toned down and more edited version, because again, it goes through an editor before it's even published. Somebody sees that. They see that. They knew what he was going to do, and they still let that stuff go through. What the hell happened to journalistic integrity? I mean, we have spent so many years degrading things like Fox, like particularly Fox News, right? It seems like that is now becoming the standard for quote unquote journalism within mainstream mediums. And that's a problem. And when I saw this earlier today, like, as a mother, like I said, as a sister, as a friend, as a freaking human being, it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. You know, there was a post about someone said publishing an article that in any way could be seen as homophobic is contrary to our mission. What was the mission then? This is a type of stupidity that we need to be calling out. We can't just say, oh, they made a mistake. People don't get let off the hook because they don't learn lessons when you let them off the hook. You know, we have seen the erosion of character, of good judgment, of real news telling over the last several years, and particularly in this election cycle, right? And we've seen it from an outlet like the Daily Beast, which is just absolute trash. It's absolute trash. I ignore the Daily Beast anyway, but this, like today, you know, it just has me. It's trash. It is trash. It is disgusting. And when you have people who claim to be quote unquote allies, this is another reason why I don't like the term allies. I don't like the term allies because allies doesn't necessarily require absolute loyalty. Allies are in it for their own personal benefit to some extent. You know, we need people to be comrades. We need people to be co-conspirators and things. Because if the staff at the Daily Beast were in this you know, for real, they really gave a damn about folks, they really cared about not appearing to be homophobic, they wouldn't have let that trash run. You know, Nico would be sat down and had a good talking to about that piece. I'm sure he probably pitched that piece to somebody before he even did it. Like you that bored, son? I mean, you got protests. You got real stuff going on in Rio right now if you really need a juicy story to talk about, right? But this is what you decide to do. It's disgusting. And I think that this is why the writing team, we have Progressive Army, you know, Michael Graham, Salam Marcos, Michael Solomon, Goddess Pamela. I mean, we got so many folks that work and grind and write for us and engage. You know, this is why we build up alternatives to what is mainstream garbage like the Daily Beast. I mean, it's sensationalism, it's scandalous, it's trash. And this is just a real example of the disconnect that these so-called, you know, liberals who have spent so much time deriding us for not, you know, having certain insights, for being racist or sexist or whatever. I mean, and then to say, well, ha 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 ha, you know, I didn't mean to trick anybody. I just kind of happened to. Then I wrote an article about it and put in people's personal details and some of their what they were looking for, because the article describes, like, you know, people's hookup preferences. I mean, it describes real personal, intimate details. It's trash. It's absolute trash. And it's really disgusting that this is from a so-called journalist. So yeah. Like that, like I said, as a mom, as a sister, it really disturbed me. And we continue to have so-called people, liberals, you know, progressives, people on the left, whatever they want to call themselves, who, and some of these people involved with the Daily Beast, I'm not going to name any names, people who support the Daily Beast are some of those we are the left knuckleheads as well, right? There's so many issues. There's so many lapses in judgment that are going on right now. And we do need to continue to call people out when we see bad behavior happening, because this is how we really begin to change the tide. And not just temporarily and not just for a certain group.